So here we are, Friday, August 26, 2016. And the big story in the last 2 days, Hillary Clinton has gone after Donald Trump for his connections to what we refer to as the alt-right. That's a new word that you'll be hearing a lot of nowadays, the alt-right, the kind of nationalist right, the sort of racist right, if you will. And the other big story is Donald Trump flips on his main point on immigration. He backtracks. He says he's not going to deport the illegal immigrants. They're not going to have a path to citizenship, but they're going to be staying. There's some people saying that's amnesty. Now, those two developments are going to play out very interesting. The question that we've been discussing is, can he win? And that for the first time we've seen that Donald Trump has run in the last 10 days. And again, I predicted this was not going to happen. He's run a reasonably competent campaign. Nothing great, but it hasn't been a total train wreck like the weeks following the Republican National Convention. So can he keep it up? Well, there's some interesting developments here because he backed away from the main selling point. The main reason why he dominated, and you can think it was about a whole lot of other things, but the main reason, as sad as this is true. The main reason why he dominated the Republican primaries is because of his hard line on immigrants. That was the main thrust of what the bedrock of his appeal. And now he has backed away. There's not that much of a difference between what he is now saying and what Jeb Bush was saying then. And the interesting thing about it, don't ask me why that was his main selling point, but it was. And the interesting thing about it is back then, Jeb Bush and Ted Cruz and a bunch of them had said that this was going to happen, that he was not going to be able to have his hard line on immigration and carry it into the general election because he was going to be forced to back away from it, to try to appeal to more moderate mainstream voters. And he said, no, I'm going to be hardcore. I'm going to be Mr., throw him out illegal immigrant. And here we are. And he is, sure enough, as sure as they predicted, backed away from it. Now, the question is he going to be held accountable for that? Are his followers who were so, fervent about him, are they going to break? Is Ann Coulter going to actually, say something? I mean, in a sense, the hypocrisy on display here is kind of amazing. Because if this same policy were being promoted by Jeb Bush or Mitt Romney or any of the more squishy moderate Republicans, the same people who are the anti-immigrant, the same firebrands would be freaking out. And so far we haven't heard from them. There are some stirrings. Ann Coulter made a couple of jokes. We got some notice that maybe Rush is going to be a little upset with it. But this should really be a big deal. If the stuff that they profess is actually true and means anything to them, to go against it should actually mean something. What would happen if Bernie Sanders won the nomination and then said, I'm not going to break up the big banks. I'm not going to, what would happen? You would think that his fervent supporters would freak out. He said, maybe Wall Street isn't so bad after he won. If he started backing away from his anti-Wall Street, what would his supporters do? You assume they would freak out. So we're assuming that Trump supporters are going to freak out. That the hardline anti-immigration people are going to start calling for his head or calling for, like the Laura Ingrams. But so far, it doesn't look like they're breaking ranks. Now, I can understand the hypocrisy given that they want to win the election, but the hypocrisy is almost unbelievable because he is professing things that are the exact same things as what Jeb Bush was talking about, or any of the other squishy rhinos. This is the same type of stuff that they were talking about. So we'll have to see, and we'll wait to see how that develops. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton has taken what I consider to be an extremely intelligent course of action trying to tie Trump into the alt-right. Now, Trump has opened the door to this himself because the new campaign manager was the head of Breitbart.com. And by everything I have heard, this is actually one of the banner places for the alt-right. And the alt-right, if you don't know, we're going to be hearing a lot about these people in the time to come, in the months to come. And it's sort of like, it is sort of the nationalist, right-wing, racist, you know, they're even more hardcore than the hardcore right. But they tend to fall in the line of racism, and so she's trying to tie him in. Now, I think that's a perfectly wise strategy and a perfectly intelligent development. At the same time, she's trying to say that he is an aberration of the Republican Party, that this is not an outgrowth of the conservative movement, not an outgrowth of republicanism, but he's some sort of aberration, some sort of, and I tend to think that that is 100% correct. That he is, and if you listen to the real conservatives, like the pointy head conservatives, you know, they think that that's true too. That's part of why they don't follow. It's part of why the National Review turned against him. So we'll wait and see, and we'll give you updates on how these play out.